We have a real treat for you today. I'm talking with the fabulous Lynne Bowman. She's a health and wellness advocate, a speaker, and the author of Brownies for Breakfast, a book that proves eating healthy, even if you have diabetes, doesn't mean giving up chocolate or joy. Lynne's been thriving with type 2 diabetes for decades, and she's on a mission to help the rest of us feel good about what we eat and ditch the diet drama for good. Brownies for Breakfast is packed full of delicious, no-nonsense recipes that are whole food, plant-based, low in sugar, and highly nutritious. And did I mention the brownies? So whether you're living with diabetes, cooking for someone who is just tired of boring healthy food, buckle up. This episode is full of flavor, laughs, and some serious kitchen inspo. How did you come up with the awesome name Brownies for Breakfast?
I was a headline writer by trade. I mean, for so many years, as a journalist and as a copywriter, it was all about making it short, writing a good line. And so I don't remember the day or hour or exactly why, but when I thought brownies for breakfast, I just thought, yeah, that sounds good. And that's what people want. We all want to be able to eat brownies for breakfast, don't we?
Yeah, eat what you want to eat, live your life. I say that all the time. I love it. I love it. Okay. And then I will say, maybe I'm a fan. I don't know. I happen to have your book here. And yes. And in the intro, I'm going to read here. I'm sorry. I know I'll lose my eye contact a little bit, but in your intro, it says here that, why should you take dietary advice from me, a crabby wannabe cowgirl who will never see 70 again, doesn't own a restaurant, isn't a TV star, doesn't have a medical degree, and doesn't particularly like to cook. That's it's kind of short, selling yourself short, don't you think? But I guess the question there is, how did type 2 help you shape your relationship with food? Type 2 diabetes, I guess, should specify for anyone listening.
Okay. Well, I wanted to stay alive, Maddie. That was mainly my thing. I found myself one day, as women do, with 3 little kids, 3 in diapers at the same time, and no money and no time, and et cetera, et cetera. And I realized from the get-go that food was an important part of raising my children and staying alive. And so my superpower is not making the most amazing, dish ever. It's putting it on the table in 15 minutes and doing it cheap and making it super healthy and having it be a thing the kids will eat. And then on top of that, that was the entertaining that I did because I had the kids and so on. So my clients and my friends would come to my house to eat. And so I figured out how to feed them. And when I found out that I was type 2 diabetic, of course, that became a way that I had to steer all of it. But then what you find out is that that's the way all of us should be eating, like a diabetic. Because really, the science of it is eat good food, real food, whole food. And we haven't been saying that for a long time. It's become more the thing in the recent, I don't know, 5 years. But and then the other part of that is no sugar, no sugar. And what's magic about no sugar is that if you eliminate sugar from your life, you're eliminating overprocessed food, food that's full of junk, food that is empty calories, because it all has sugar in it. So if you just have the simple principle, the rule of no sugar, boom, it's easy. That's what you do.
Okay. And it sounds like that's really been helpful for you to manage your type 2.
Absolutely.
And so, okay. And so I know I'm jumping back here, but you had mentioned a little bit about your career. I know that you said you've had an interesting career. Tell me a little bit more. I think I might have missed a detail there.
You probably missed lots of details because
Tell me everything.
I didn't have one career, Maggie. I had a few. And but I, I, I think it's important to realize that I graduated from high school in 1964. Okay. So set the scene there. I couldn't go to Harvard. It wasn't co-ed. there were a lot of things I couldn't do that were not available to me at all to do because I was a female. So, and hey, there I was. But like a lot of women, there was no plan to be made in those days, except you figured you might get married and you'd have some kids and maybe you'd be a nurse or a teacher. But those weren't paths that seemed right for me. I'm horrified at the thought of being a nurse or a teacher, either one. Much more courage than I have. And I have a daughter now who is a nurse practitioner, and so I can speak with some authority that, no, I couldn't do that. I could not do what she does. I'm so proud that she does it, but I couldn't do it. So I had to look elsewhere, and I actually was born in Hollywood, of all the ridiculous places to be born. And so what was around me was the film industry. It's a company town. And so people would say, well, can you come and do a shoot? And could you be the model for, and so I would say, yeah, sure. Okay, fine. And makeup, I wound up doing professional makeup and modeling and a little bit of acting because it was there. And, I don't even remember when exactly I started. Oh, yes, I can say that I went to work for Redken Laboratories at a certain point in the late 60s, and you're familiar with who they are. Little tiny company out in the valley in those days. And I went to work for them as I think I was an art producer, art director, and very young, 21 years old. And I showed up on a Monday morning about 3 weeks after I'd been hired, and everyone in the department had been fired. So, as you do, I was advised this, say yes, say, okay, I'll do that, whatever it is. And I went into the president's office and I said, I'll hire some people. It's all right. We'll be okay. And so, and I went to all of my vendors, new people that I barely knew, and said, teach me, show me how to do this, show me what you're doing. And they were great about it. And so it became my graduate course in advertising. And great company, great people, lots of fun. And in fact, I met my BFF, Deidre, with whom I've done a couple books that are on the bio, I'm sure. She was 19, I think, and I was 21, and she came in and modeled for one of the shoots, hair model, great hair. And we just fell madly in love the way women do. It's like, hey, you're going to be my friend. Okay, you're going to be my friend. And we're still BFFs, I'm happy to say, which becomes such a treasure at this age to have buddies that you've been working and fighting and eating and playing with for, 5 decades or so. And I don't know if anyone knows who I'm talking about, but it's Deidre Hall, who is still, after all these years, Dr. Marlena Evans on Days of Our Lives.
I need to talk to you about my son.
And she's still at it.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
It is amazing because we did not know. We had no clue when we were in our early 20s what we would be doing the next week, let alone 2 years or 5 years or 10 years from then. So it's been quite an adventure. And I'm going all around the river here with the story, but we were talking about careers. Okay, careers. So advertising, marketing. Oh, and then I landed in Silicon Valley in 1980 with my 2, 3, and 4 at the time kids in tow. We came across the country on a train with what we could carry. And the reason why can be a story for another time. A lot of you girls are going, oh, I think I know what happened, right? Yeah, that's right. I ran for my life with my kids and one bag. And my sister was in California, and she was an engineer, and her husband was an engineer in the Silicon Valley. And so she immediately put a small computer in front of me, and I said, no, forget about it. What is that? You? But she said, no, you sit down, shut up. You're going to do this. And so I did. And I pretty soon was writing copy for all those people in the Silicon Valley who were making the first microcomputers. And there weren't any women doing it, certainly. I think I might have been the first person to write advertising copy on an Apple II, which I didn't think of as thrilling at the time. But looking back, it's funny how you go, oh, that was amazing. Right? Nobody was doing that. Right. It was an interesting time, and the money was good. So I got to raise my children and buy better food, but was still a skinflint about all of it. And I stayed in marketing and advertising and writing from that point on. And here I am still.
And here you are. That's
Mm.
fantastic. It sounds like there's so many people have had such an impact on the ebbs and flow of life. And I'm actually curious too, when you something that stood out to me when you said that your daughter went into healthcare, you were like, I could never do that. I could never be a nurse. We need them. I love them. I like them. They're fantastic. But boy, it's not my path. I'm a dietitian. I'm like, kind of close, but kind of different. And so that is, did she have any impact on, because she is a healthcare provider, right? So did she have any impact on this book or on your journey?
She has an impact on everything that I do, as all three of my children, and I have 3 grandchildren now. But particularly, and I'll confess to you that we talk twice a day. Yeah, still. Um, but she's one of the most interesting people I know, as are my other 2 kids, I'm happy to say. And she does butts and guts. She's a GI specialist, and she's now working toward being more of a liver specialist. But the way medicine is delivered now, nurse practitioners are where you want to go. These are the people who will talk to you, who will sit and say, and of course we have interesting conversations about the problems that come in front of her and what she says to people. And of course she probably doesn't deliver it the way she's telling me she's delivering it, but it's, didn't I tell you last week that you should just do this? Well, have you done that? No? Well, then go away. And when you've done that, come back. Right? Because so much of what she sees, Maddie, is just basic, quit dairy. Okay? That's it. Just quit dairy and you're good. And they quit dairy and they come in and go, oh my God, it's a miracle. Or quit caffeine. You can't tolerate caffeine. It's here, Gee, I quit caffeine and 3 days later I was, okay. That's what so much medicine can be. But instead, you get stuff prescribed for you and you get more tests or rah, rah, rah. What you need is some good granny medicine a lot of the time, or a really cool nurse practitioner who will tell you like it is and not sugarcoat it. So often it has to do with your microbiome. Are you eating the right stuff? Are you drinking the right stuff? Are you drinking the wrong stuff?
Absolutely. I really feel it sounds like you really have this holistic perspective when it comes to, I guess, healthy living in general, and especially that correlation to diabetes. And I think I was remembering in the book there, you said something more specific, or you said that people weren't specific enough. Am I remembering that right? That people weren't specific enough about how to manage type 2. Tell me more.
Right. They would say, the advice that I got was, well, keep your weight down, manage your weight, try and get some exercise. But even the exercise was a kind of a, last minute thing. They wouldn't say, eat greens 3 times a day, eat fermented food once a day at least. Don't eat too much meat. Eat the best quality food you can find. Very important for you, diabetics. The best quality food, especially your meats, high quality. Otherwise, forget it. They wouldn't say how to keep your weight down. And anyone with a metabolic problem knows that keeping your weight down is an issue. It's not easy. It's much more difficult for you than it is for some other people. But the whole idea of when to eat. And I feel strongly after, and I bet you do too, after we study this for a long time, what you realize is when you eat is almost as important as what you eat and how much. Very, very important. And the other thing that no one will ever, they never mentioned it to me, was sleep. The role that sleep plays in your weight management, in your sugar management, and in how you feel. It's
Absolutely.
not complicated, but so many of us are on schedules that make enough sleep, eating at the right time, almost impossible. And so many of us are eating everything out of a bag in plastic. And it, let's put aside the issue of the plastic and the bag and just say that if you are not sitting down and having a meal in a chair, on a plate, with utensils, and with people, you're not really eating the best way you can for your health. It's almost as important who you eat with and that you eat with someone if you possibly can. And maybe everybody out there who lives alone is going, yeah, fine for you, person with 3 kids. But, you know, I think all of us could do better making an effort to just go down the hall and knock on the door and go, Mrs. Johnson, I made some soup. Would you like to have some? How about if you come and eat it with me? Or the kids next door, or your friend, or find people to eat with if you possibly can. Your whole system is designed to eat with other people. It slows you down and it diverts your attention from the food. So your body receives the food in a different way when you are eating at the right time and in the right way and with somebody. It's helpful.
Ah, and that's I had another question in mind. I feel like you might have answered it. I don't know if this is the answer, but I was thinking you mentioned that the book isn't just for individuals with diabetes. And so I was going to ask you who else it's for, but maybe it's for supporters or other folks who are maybe interested in supporting their metabolic health. Is that correct? Or is it designed for someone else too?
The subtitle is it's Brownies for Breakfast, a cookbook for diabetics and the people who love them. And the joke, if you want to call it that, is that everybody loves a diabetic. We all know diabetics, type 2, type 1. And if you're sitting at a table with diabetics, you should know the scoop and understand what's going on and not be someone who is always saying, go ahead, have a donut. It's all right. In fact, it is all right. I have recipes in the book for donuts that you bake and that have no sugar in them and that are made of vegetables.
I will be honest, those are some of the first recipes that I looked in depth into because I was very excited to see them. I love it.
A pink donut with sprinkles on it, come on. That's just something nobody can resist. But if you make them the way I tell you to in the book, they're made of pumpkin and other healthy things that are, trust me, grandma here, they're amazingly yummy. They taste better. They're more interesting. And you eat one, and here's the difference. Because they're not from big food, because they were not created by people in a building in New Jersey who want to addict you and keep you eating, you can eat 1 or 2 of these brownies or 1 or 2 of these donuts, and you've had more than enough. You're done. You don't want any more because the way they land in your body is different. They're real food. And if you think you can go out and get real food at a drive-through or a convenience store or a restaurant in most cases, you're wrong.
Yeah, it can be hard. It can be really hard to find the very great options. Yeah. And you know what I will say is thinking about it too, when the one of the reasons why the donuts caught my eye is I think I saw the title, but also the visuals throughout this book are incredible. And it feels very, was it studio based? Is it home based? Tell me more about where a lot of this inspiration comes
I'm so glad you asked me because specifically I took all the photographs except the ones of me, and that was Larry Dyer, who's a brilliant a friend, and very kindly took some of me. But because you have to do that, you have to have them in the book. I took the photographs with my iPhone, and no stylists were harmed in the making of this book because I wanted you to get the same result I got. It's so disappointing to see this glamorous picture of a lovely dish of some kind and make it and go, this just looks all. If you make it the way I tell you in the book, which is simple, simple stuff, it'll look the way it looks in the picture because it was just me and my iPhone. And I'm not a brilliant photographer, any stretch of the imagination. So thank you for mentioning that. Yeah.
Of course. And that kind of I was curious too. I saw that is it do you call your home the old dog farm? Did I see that right? Okay. Where did that come from?
Can't you guess?
I'm gonna guess there's maybe some dogs, maybe a farm.
Well, here's the thing. We have now lost our very last old dog. He was 16. He was a snow dog, a sled dog, mutt. Beautiful. You'll see pictures of him in the book. Um, I had a pair and they were wonderful. But, and the joke was the only thing we were really successful at as a farm was old dogs. Our dogs lived forever. I had a cattle dog that lived to be 20. Um, and, and we always had cats and a horse and stuff, but the dogs just seemed to live forever. Except we did have one occasion where a lion got one of our dogs because yes, we have mountain lions on the place. Um, but yeah, our dogs were beloved and lived, most of them, to a very, very old age. And we were always proud and happy about that. But they're gone now.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of life, I guess, is that it's like what is it? All beautiful, all good things must come to an end or something like that. We don't deserve dogs. They're amazing. I think I don't know if this is accurate, but with some more of that freedom that you had, I think that you had attended a conference a few years ago and they were talking about like carbs versus fat and the metabolism and maybe the metabolism of glucose. Am I remembering that right? Could you tell me more about that?
Well, what was fascinating, Maddie, was that it was the plantricians that
Yes.
you know about, I'm sure, and it was some big name, Dean Ornish and T. Colin Campbell were there. So I just, something was kind of on my shoulder saying, you just got to go to that. You have to go because it was close. It was in Oakland. And so I put down my money and I went, and it was PowerPoint presentations from 8 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. Not my favorite thing, but it was fascinating because the take that these guys had on diabetes was different than anything I'd ever seen. These were all MDs from all over the world, but their conviction was that the reason your cells could not absorb the glucose and therefore left it in circulation was because of animal fat. And, they presented a lot of data that was very convincing. So, and I had always been told, always believed that it was just simply the amount of sugar, glucose in different forms that you ate. It was carbs. It was all of the especially processed carbs. So when I left and my husband picked me up, I said the most dreaded words men ever hear from their girlfriends, which were, guess what? And he said, what? And I said, I'm a vegan now. And there was kind of a silence. And he said, okay, I'm in, which is only part of the reason why He's maybe the best husband ever. So for 6 months, we were very strictly vegan. I experimented with it, and my numbers looked great. So it's a very solid way to go. If you eat as a vegan, if you eat smart as a vegan, whole food, real food, just like you were eating any other healthy diabetic or other diet. So many people who are vegan eating bagels and donuts and, chips and stuff. And no, no, no.
Yep, I call that an Oreo vegan.
Yeah. Good night. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
So I have over time gone back and included meat in my diet, and I haven't seemed to pay a price for it. But also, I live right in the sort of epicenter of a regenerative agriculture movement. And so I'm surrounded by farmers and growers who treat their animals like family members. The cows are very happy, well-adjusted, emotionally, solid critters that munch on this beautiful hillside. And I can get fabulous goat cheese, and there's a goat dairy in town that makes wonderful so if you, like me, have access to that food, eat it. It's wonderful. But if you're having to go to Safeway to buy meat, watch your step. That's all.
You know, yeah, I didn't realize that was part of your past. Funny enough, slight detour, but we'll come back. My very best friend from dietetic school is visiting me this weekend, and I was telling him how I was excited to chat with you today. And so I was showing him a little bit about your book. I was excited. And we were talking about, because what did he notice? He noticed honey in my pantry, and it started up a sugar conversation for us. And then we were talking about diabetes versus veganism. It was a whole conversation, but I actually referenced the list that you have in this book. You have a list with different types of sugar. So what are your thoughts on it? What did you call it? The code for sugar code, something like that.
Did
Is
I?
that right? Did I? Maybe not. Maybe I was thinking
No.
of that in my head.
I ask the question all the time, Maddie, about natural sugars, coconut sugar and maple syrup and honey. And my answer is no. Sorry, no. Chemically, they're very intense sources of the glucose that you don't want. And another thing that I want to talk about, because so few people seem to know, is that there are some great sugar substitutes available. A couple that I highly recommend. The first one, my favorite, allulose. Terrible name, and you've heard me talk. Okay, don't eat artificial, son. It's called allulose. Doesn't that just sound horrible?
Yes.
But it's one ingredient. It's not made out of a bunch of chemicals. It's squished corn typically. And it's 0 calories, virtually no calories to speak of. It tastes like sugar. It looks like sugar, except it's not as intense as sugar. It's not quite as sweet as sugar. When you quit sugar, though, because if you're listening to me now, you're thinking about it. If you haven't already quit, I hope. When you quit sugar, as you must do if you're going to be fabulous like me when you're 80, it'll take about 3 weeks, and your saliva will change chemically, and then sugar won't taste so good anymore. It's too sweet. So allulose becomes ideal for you because it's just not quite as sweet, but it's an excellent product. You can get golden allulose or allulose sugar syrup. Highly recommend it. And it's a little, but like so many things, worth it. Hello. And you don't need much. And you're going to find as time goes on, you'll even go, oh, I haven't even looked at that in days, because you stop craving sweet all the time. So that's my number one. Number two would be monk fruit. Excellent sweetener made from jackfruit, but look out on the label. Be careful it's not cut with erythritol. because in my opinion, and you're the expert, but I've had so many people complain about tummy upsets with erythritol and other sugar alcohols, which typically have a OL end on the. So read the label, know what you're eating. But my two favorites are allulose and what's the other one? This is a quiz. Monk fruit. That's it.
I love it. Thank you. That's so insightful. And anyone who's curious about the science, there is a lot of accuracy there. We talk about taste buds changing, that the saliva, the transition that you go through. Absolutely. As a GI issues girly, yep, those sugar alcohols can be not so fun. But I think that, everyone is individual. So, of course, if it's something you see, absolutely take a look at the nutrition label, like you mentioned. And if you do notice those tummy issues, say, okay, where might this be coming from? That's a good way to kind of start to sort through things. And okay, so now I have a selfish question.
Good.
So I have thumbed through this book so many times, and I have to know what your favorite recipe is and why.
But that's a hard one. Um, at different times, you want to do different things. One of the things that I think is important about my book and about cooking in general is I have a lot of recipes in here that have like 2 ingredients or 3 ingredients because I want you to do it. I don't want this book to go up on the shelf and just sit there. I want you making stuff all the time out of it. And so it's easy. It has to be easy. And one of my favorites that I served the other night, and I mean, I just got this big fat response like, what is this? This is amazing. It's a salad dressing that you can make and put on any kind of greens, any kind of salady thing you want. And it's made from 2 different things, 2 ingredients. You got your pencil out? Um, yeah, here you go. It's made from a really good, yummy balsamic vinegar. I buy from a local maker. Sigona's is a local market that makes it. And I have an apricot one and a Grabenstein apple one. But you need a balsamic vinegar with real flavor and some sweetness. And you just use a little bit of it. And then tahini. Have you got tahini in your fridge? What? No? Okay.
Yep, always.
Yeah. So tahini is nothing but squished sesame seeds. That's it. So you throw it in the bottom of the salad bowl, and with a fork, you toss the balsamic and the tahini, and then you throw the salad in. Oh, and you can put some garbanzo beans in that, and put the juice in as well, because that's really healthful. And that's another subject. You can whip it and make it into wonderful things. But put your garbanzos in. Very good. Of course, it's great for protein and it's great for, everything. What? Garbanzo beans. They're such great food. So you just whip it all up. You put the greens on top. You toss it. It's on the table. And it's so important to know how easy it is to put food on the table for other people, not just you. But I think we're all a little shy about serving our friends because we've been watching the TV shows about the British bake-offs and these things with all the complicated. No, no, no. It's so easy to put really good food on the table. And I want you to do that for yourself and for your family and for your friends.
Absolutely. Oh, fantastic. I had to mute my mic there because I think my tummy grumbled because I love balsamic. It's so good. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think another thing I was curious about is it Mimi's Badass Brownies? Is that what I saw?
That's the recipe right there.
Okay.
And I can talk you through it a little bit if you want.
Please, I would love nothing more.
Okay, because these brownies are made from pumpkin. Hello, a can of pumpkin. And pumpkin is such great food. It's full of vitamins and minerals and color. It's a vegetable, for Pete's sake. So you're making your brownies from pumpkin, from nut butter, excellent food, source of protein, healthy fats, wonderful. And then we've just talked about sweetener. allulose would be my favorite. And then eggs, and I love eggs. If they're good eggs, all for it. If you're not eating eggs, egg substitute. What else is in those brownies? Cinnamon and cocoa. Plain old cocoa with no sugar, nothing, just cocoa. Vanilla, I think, and you mix it up and you put it in a pan and it comes out just this wonderful fudgy but in the book, I think I call for 350 for 20 minutes, and I want you to try 325 or less. If you're not sure what your temperature is on your oven, go for less rather than more. And then I make a frosting out of some good, and it depends, there are different brands. It's kind of hard to find now, but a good dark chocolate bar with no sugar in it. That's what you want. And then you want to put just a little bit of your favorite non-dairy milk-like product in there, soy milk or something, just a sploosh. Stir it up and heat it, and it makes super frosting. Just like that. And you throw it on. And then the brownies get better the longer they wait in the fridge. Like the next day, they're even better. And yes, they're really badass. It's true.
Believe it. That sounds fantastic. And I feel like so many of the recipes in this book there, you've got plant-based, sugar-free, gluten-free, but they're full of flavor and vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients. So something that I see a lot as a dietitian who has I see clients every day, and we talk about this, that, oh, it's easy or it's not, right? And I know that you mentioned there's some simple things that you're doing that clearly make a difference. So what is your secret for making healthy food taste so good?
I love to eat.
Me too.
So I did it all for myself, you know. I don't want to eat grotty food. I don't want to eat boring food. But if you are watching your weight, or if you're diabetic, or if you have heart disease, or if you don't want heart disease, or what, then you need to make yummy, healthy food yourself, because you can't go out and get it in a restaurant. I mean, the last year we just had graduation week. My other daughter, not the nurse, the one who is the amazing, she just got another degree, a master's degree from Berkeley in real estate development. What? Yes. But she has been working with me in town planning and a foundation that I headed in town to try desperately to get some affordable homes actually built. And I mean, you talk about an uphill slog. But so she pulled her panties up and went back to graduate school, and in 1 year got this master's degree from Berkeley in real estate development. So very proud of her and that. But as a result, there have been a few restaurant meals in our mix this last week that ordinarily are not. And we love Thai food. We've been out 2 times, but it's fried. We don't know what's in there. It's delicious. Right? And of course I ate some, and it was very good, but I kept thinking to myself, if this were waved in front of me every day, or if this was all that was available to me, yeah, I'd probably be eating this, but not too good for diabetics. Nope.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And wow, badass brownies, a badass family, clearly. That's amazing. And so I think with regard to diabetes, is there a myth or a misconception that you want to bust right here, right now?
Well, that's a good question. Well, one myth is that you only get diabetes if you're overweight. Not true. There is a hereditary element, and I don't know all the rest of the biochemistry. You probably do. But in my case, I had gestational diabetes. My son was 10 pounds when he was born. And I was not a whole lot more than that, but I gained 60 pounds with so there's something about a pregnancy that kicks this system apart. And so I was told when he was born by the men, they were all men in those days, the docs, that I would probably get diabetes when I was older in my 40s. And that was why I think I was so directed all along to, I didn't want to get it. And if I got it, I didn't want it to kill me or disable me. But I wasn't overweight. And so often doctors would say, well, what are you worried about? You're not overweight. You're okay. No, I wasn't okay. My blood work was not okay. So don't confuse overweight with diabetic. And yes, being overweight can stress your body in a way that will make you vulnerable to diabetes. And you can back me up on this, Madi, but being overweight doesn't necessarily cause diabetes. They're related. Yes, it's true. So that's a myth, I think.
Absolutely. I think that's such a strong one to emphasize. So I appreciate that. And I feel like maybe this is the most important question, last but not least. Where can people find your book?
Oh, hate to say it, Amazon. Ew.
Oh.
But yeah, on Amazon. And if you buy it on Amazon, please leave a review. That helps other people really know what they're looking at. And I think that guides people in a good way to books. And happily, I have a lot of good reviews because, as I said, I want this one to be used. I want it out there on tables helping people. So yes, and it's on Audible also. So you can hear Granny in your ear all the way as you drive, wherever you're going. And people think, well, wait a minute, it's a cookbook on Audible. Yes, but there are lots of stories in the book too. And I riff on things on Audible because, of course, like any granny, I'll go, well, wait a minute, I forgot to say that this and that and the 350 degrees, when you think about doing it at 325. So all that is in the Audible version. And people have told me that they enjoyed listening and then going home, and you can download the ebook version to actually get the recipes and cook from, if you like, or of course, order the paper books. It's kind of expensive in hardback, but perfectly reasonable in a paperback version. So I hope you will, because you've already heard how hard I worked on those pictures for you.
And they're beautiful. Yes. I feel like I love that you have it available in multiple options. I like that there's an audio version. I am such an audio, like a podcast girly, clearly, right? So I love that you have that option. And I just want to say thank you so much. I feel like this was such a fun conversation, so incredible. Clearly, you are fantastic. And so I think what we'll do is we'll include all of your links in our show notes and on YouTube and all of that so that people can connect with you, because I think that there's a powerful message here. And
I love hearing from people.
Beautiful one.
Thank you. I love it when people send me pictures of their brownies or their salad or whatever. It makes me feel like I'm living for a reason.
Yes, and then you can see how they compare to the iPhone photos, right? I love it. But the fun doesn't stop here. If you liked this episode and want more real talk diabetes support, come hang out with me on social. Just search Type 1 Type Fun, all words, or head to type1typefun.com for tools, tips, freebies, and real-life resources you can actually use. And if this episode made you laugh, learn, or feel a little more seen, feel free to leave a comment, give it a like, share it with someone you love. But until next time, live empowered, be silly, have fun, and eat some carbs.